All right. Good morning. How's it going over there in New Jersey? That's where
Good,
you're
good.
at.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just an hour ahead of you time wise. So it's 10 a.m. here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what time have you been normally getting up
Oh
since?
gosh, I've been working the whole time, so I'm usually up by 6:30. So this has
Okay.
given me a morning to have coffee and be on my second big cup already.
Gotcha. So this morning we have Professor Jen Russell. Do you prefer me calling you Professor by your
Oh,
name?
Jen, please.
Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Um, cool. Apocus says we're fine in Texas. Excellent. We got someone coming on. So tell us a little bit about yourself. I know you're first degree black belt,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm due for my second one, so that's pretty exciting.
That's
It
awesome.
just means you're just getting older, though. Once you get to black belt, you're just getting older and get your degrees. Um,
I I think you're just getting more savage
well, I
when you get
try to be
at a higher level.
more efficient.
I gotcha. So I guess you're under Professor Tom DeBlas.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. I've
Correct.
been.
And then
mm,
go ahead. Go ahead.
yeah. No. I've known Tom since I was a white belt. We trained together, both under Professor Ricardo, and then he had started his own school. So I was a pretty new purple belt, and then I went to his school. So I've been there since I was brand new purple belt.
Sorry, you're cutting in and out.
Oh, sorry.
You've been there since when? You've been
Brand new
there
purple
since
belt.
when?
It's
Okay.
been right after purple belt. I ended up there. Mm-hmm.
Okay. When did you start jiu-jitsu?
2004.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's been a while.
So how has the sport grown? Have you seen it grown for us being as a female in the earlier stages of jiu-jitsu?
So tremendously. When I started, I was lucky to have one or two other females. A lot of times, because I was always very consistent, a lot of times I would be the only female there. So if I had a female now and then to work with, I was like, oh, good, somebody closer to my body type. But for the most part, there wasn't many. And then now I think really as the push of women's MMA, it's more like the norm for women to want to train jujitsu and martial arts, and they see everybody out there. I know for me, like when I first started, I mean, I came from a kickboxing background, and I saw women's MMA, and I'm like, oh my God, I have no ground game. Like this, I would get destroyed there. So that's what prompted me to try it. And then I just, you have some really tough days then. It was not a kinder sport. Nobody really encouraged you a lot to be there. But I think now I see a new girl coming in. Like, I can't wait to see her confident. And like the first time she sweeps a bigger guy, they're just like, wow, and then their confidence builds. And then they're like, oh, I might want to try to compete. And then they just kind of go from there. So now there's tons of ladies. We have a huge women's program. Gosh, we got to have over 20 pretty consistent ladies. Which is wonderful. So I'm real excited about that.
That's amazing. That's definitely a lot of women. That's awesome on there. Yes, Tom, Professor Tom DeBlas, he just signed with ONE FC.
Yes.
That's awesome. And he's like 38 years old.
Yeah.
Getting back in the cage. That's like, I think that's like a good fit for him, that organization. Going up there.
I've heard great vibes about them, and they really take care of their athletes. So I'm excited to see how this goes for them, So,
excellent.
Yeah.
Good morning. We have Jazzy K. She was actually on yesterday. Thank you for jumping on yesterday, last minute. Appreciate it on that. How do you retain members, especially at times we are in now?
Well, especially now. So as soon as the quarantine happened, I was about to leave for Pan Am's. So it was like a week before Pan's, I was on weight, ready to roll. And then we found out. And then it was just a week later, the school closed. We had to shut down. So, but since day one, we've had Zoom classes going, which have been tremendous. So it's been really, really interesting that we've had that going. And then Danielle, one of Purple Belts I train with, her and I have been doing a women's Zoom class, which has been jiu-jitsu based exercises and activities. And funny enough, we've had some new people sign up during this time that are joining us on Zoom. So I'm
Yeah,
real excited about that. Yeah.
that's one of the silver linings
Mhm.
is, yeah, being able to have that reach, online reach for other people to sign up. It's like, because
Sure.
when one areas or school is not jumping on that, they're going
Mhm.
to find another place to try to get it from.
Yes.
So
There are
yeah.
some schools that just started doing the Zoom now. I'm like, it's been 2 months. What have you guys been doing? Like, at least for your people that are loyal and they want to be working out with you. Like that's and it's not even just the workout, it's actually all of us seeing each other. So it's still, I think our team has been building stronger during this time, oddly enough. Um, but now when we're doing our Zoom classes, we're having people come in and do the workouts too, and we're just staying a little bit apart from each other, so now we've had in-house people and we have the Zoom class going like at the same time, which is pretty cool. You know,
My
it's
my
different.
question my question for you, because how do
Yeah.
you get people to get involved with Zoom? I know some people are like, hey, come, people are posting, come to my, join my Zoom classes, but
Yeah. Yeah.
there might be hardly any response. So how do you get people to get in on that? It'd probably just be because you already have loyal students and then,
Yes.
on
Yeah,
there.
I
So
think that's a lot of it. And then a few people that have joined in, we've been doing a family class. So like some of these guys, wives and girlfriends who've never trained feel more comfortable at home with their significant others. So they're joining into these family classes. And then they're like, huh, this is not exactly what I thought it was. I thought it was more like Fight Club, I guess. And then they
uh-huh.
do that a little bit. And then they're like, oh, all right. This is something I want to do in person now. So it's
So
pretty cool.
how do you and this is like a creative thing as far as a teacher trying
Mhm.
to figure out what to do with
Yes.
online, how to teach, especially as a family. So how do you what are some of the things that you can think of top of your head that will involve the whole family to be involved with the Zoom class?
So even having like, so you've never trained before, well, you could still have somebody, the person who's never trained can like get inside control on top of you and you can work your escapes with them. They're not sure exactly what to do, but they can still be an active participant. Even like you're working a closed guard sweep, like, all right, you just have to hang here. Like, I'm gonna sweep you. And once they get an idea, like it's not as terrifying, I think. Jujitsu, if you've never done it and if you're a girl, you see that, you're like, I don't know about this. Like, this is, they're all personal space and, a lot of wrestling. And if you've never done that, that's very strange. But I think having somebody you trust and know initially, then you're like, oh, okay, maybe now instead of dealing with my big husband, I could work with somebody more my size.
Um, question on Poku, and then also Kareen Satterfield that's on here. I do see your comment on my phone. They're kind of similar questions. As a professor, do you think Zoom should be a permanent thing for school in case something like this happens in the future?
Well, our goal, I think what we're going to do now, is what Professor Tom was talking about, is we're going to keep the Zoom going even when we have regular classes. Because say you're stuck at work, there's something, a technique going. And I don't know about you, but I used to always have, the FOMO. Always felt like I was missing something if I wasn't there, like they're going to teach a secret maneuver. We're going to keep the Zoom going even during normal times. So I think that's
Excellent.
something we're going to keep in place regardless, because we have a whole huge setup with the cameras, the microphones, and the big screen TV, so you can see everybody, which is really cool. So that's something we're going to keep going forward. So I think that'll be neat. Like if you're stuck at work, maybe you can sneak off and watch class.
Yeah, for sure. And then you can always watch it later. So,
Yes.
and then try
Mhm.
to follow up and catch up. So that's
Yep.
definitely a great option on
Yeah.
that. Good morning. We have Joan this
Hey.
morning. Excellent. And then we have Danielle Lynn.
Yep.
Hey,
That's
Jen.
my purple belt friend. Yes, that's Danielle. Awesome. Hello, everybody.
And then what has been your biggest struggle as a female coming up? Great question.
Um. Uh, Gosh, I don't know. I guess probably learning how to deal with the big aggro white belts, which as I've gotten older, I don't enjoy. I don't like to train with them as often as, I'm 40, 45 years old now. It's not always worth it to me if I have a tournament coming up, but I think learning how to deal with the big aggro guys, especially when you're coming up, because you want to almost go, you feel like you want to go muscle to muscle, but really focusing on your technique. Um, that in the beginning was harder for me because I learned like, all right, I have to be more creative because they're bigger than me. I can't get stuck underneath them. I have to learn to really keep my frame and always have an underhook or a foot hook in or something to always a way out. So learning how to do that, even when you're like 3/4 of the way smashed under somebody, you still have that 1/4 where you're like, all right, I'm going to get out because they're going to go to crush. So I know when they overcommit, I'm going to be able to get out. So I guess learning how to be smart about protecting myself while getting out. I think that's hard to learn is a self-preservation while you're getting underneath there. And then that being calm underneath somebody big. And you're like, all right, well, it's just pressure. Like he's not really doing anything. Pressure won't kill me. So I think just learning to stay calm under there and learning when to get out and not feeling like, oh crap, now I'm really stuck. I think that definitely was my biggest thing, especially from white into blue. Because once you get your blue belt, like, it was bad enough at white belt, but remember once they get your blue belt, like they're really coming for your ass at that point.
I
They're like,
remember that for sure.
yeah. And then
You're like, take my blue belt.
Yeah.
Hide it.
I was only training 10 months and I got my blue belt. And I remember I'm like, oh man, they're going to kick my ass. And each belt I think you grow into. And I remember thinking, as I got higher and higher, I'm like, that bullseye just gets bigger. And like, all right, the guys come in the gym, like, all right, I'm going to test myself against, let me find the smallest, oldest female black belt here, but that's just part of it, Yeah.
That's awesome. You
I
big
take it as a
people targeting
compliment.
the small people. Come on
Yeah.
now.
Oh yeah. But you know what? I take it as a compliment. If you
Yeah.
need to bring all your aggro at me, I'm doing something right. So
That's awesome. So how have your training has evolved and changed? Because in your 30s, when you started in 30s, because I know when we're younger, we're gonna train as much as we want and roll and stuff, and then recovery time is a lot quicker. And then as we age, so talk about that. Your training regimen now versus what it was before.
Well, it was very hard for me to adjust my thinking because to me, I want to train. I still want to train every day. I don't care if I get up like the crypt keeper getting out of bed. I can hardly move. I've had several, oh my God, tons of injuries, several surgeries. I have another big surgery I need to do. So for me, I feel like, honestly, I feel like shit every morning. I'm going to be honest with you. But once I'm training and I'm on the mats, I feel amazing. I feel great when I'm rolling. So when I'm on the mats warmed up, I can go hard for an hour, but the next day I pay for it. And it's just part of it. And I love training hard like that. So it's been hard for me to adjust my thinking. So what I do is when I'm really banged up, I'll work fast, like speed with my I have some smaller, younger athletes that are fantastic. I mean, we have was she 15 still? She's nonstop. So I like working with her. She's smaller than me. She's fast. So I just work speed with her on those days. Not every day do I want to go hard with guys that are bigger and stronger, but some days I like to, I like to mix it up like that. So I'll still get my cardio, without taking a huge beating that day. So if I need a day like that, I take a day like that and I don't beat myself up for it. Cause my thought is I'm not going to like lose my learning if I take it easier on a day, and it's not easier with her either. The cardio wise, like if I can keep up with a 16-year-old, I mean, Jesus, I'm doing something all right. So I just adjust it in that way. I still lift consistently, at least twice a week. I do lift. I started doing hot yoga over a year ago, which helps with my body recovery because I've had chronic misalignments and we're all like off balance from jiu-jitsu. It's just, so I've been doing that as well. And even if I can't get to yoga, I do stretch like that before and after training. So that's helped me feel a little better. But I mean, I'm not going to feel like I'm 29 again, but I think keep going, kind of like the Tin Man theory, like you stop, you're going to seize up. I feel like I just got to keep moving,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
We do have a question on with Joan. Hold on. What made you not quit at tough times other than the crazy friends you met and helped?
My crazy friends event. Yeah. Well, so.
Hello?
Yeah. Yes. Can you hear me?
Sorry, you broke out.
Am I back?
Yep. We got you back.
Okay. So the tough times, I'm very stubborn, and I'm also somebody that like, God, especially people. If you feel like people think you can't do something, to me, I feel like it's my job now to prove your ass wrong. I really feel like once I start something, like it's just I don't quit. I don't quit. Um, I've gone through real tough times training, real tough times competing. Uh, but to me, it's always more of a personal challenge. Like to me, my goal was never to like, I need to go out and win all these top championships. It was more like, how do I know how good I can be if I never try? So for me, I always thought like, I don't want to be 60 years old and be like, damn, I wish I competed. I really wonder how I would have done. So I've always a personal challenge, whether it's competition or showing up. There was a ton of people when I trained white and blue belt that were not the best training partners. And you know what? All those people, not a single one of them probably even made it to purple or brown, but definitely not black belts. So most of them quit. They can't handle it with their egos.
Yeah.
So me, I'm stubborn and it works for me.
Hey, but it works. Look at you now.
Yeah. I'm just going to show up. I don't care. I don't care if you guys are trained or not. I'm going to go and train whether my friends are there or not. There's a social aspect, but to me, it's like, well, I hope you're there, but I'm still going to be there.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
for sure. Let me jump back a little bit. Apoku had a question back here. As a professor, can you walk us through your school's ranking system?
So for a lot of people, when you start, it's from white into blue, you're showing up. It's you obviously there's attendance involved with some of it, but for the basic jujitsu person who just loves the sport, is not a competitor, you're going to move up the ranks. Your abilities. I think white into blue is pretty fairly similar for everybody. But once you decide to be a competitor and then you're moving up from blue into purple, and even your regular person, like you need to be there. You need to put in the time. You need to put in the effort. Like, how are you training? Are you doing transitions you should be doing? And that's how a lot of it goes. But once you're like high into purple, brown into black, it's a lot more on your abilities and are you there? Are you putting the time in? I know once I hit like brown belt, like you don't even take attendance. Like it's like you'll get it when you're ready. And Professor Tom and even myself, like we see who's training, we see who's doing stuff. You roll with them, like, man, they feel really good. Like, I roll with some people, they're due for the brown belt 100%. Like you can feel it when you're training with somebody, especially if you've been training for a long time. But Professor Tom and we have Coach Craig, like these guys, like they watch, they know who's ready, who's doing stuff. And it's a lot of it based on your ability and your knowledge. It's not like, you need to smash the young dudes, but how many sweeps do you actually know from here? How are your transitions? Like it's a lot more involved than just the attendance. But I think from white to blue, it's kind of we see who's coming in a lot, and when they get ready, and they do stripes initially based on attendance. But you could have your fourth stripe, and we're like, not really ready yet. Like I think they need a little more time here. So that can happen too. There's usually a discussion amongst people, and we all see who's doing and training whatnot. So
cool. How would you describe your game?
I know I can. Well, my husband would call me a grimy little shit, but that's I think it's a compliment. If I can grind in top pressure, and like have my head like on heavy and under someone's neck, like I enjoy that. But that's if I'm training with somebody bigger. I really enjoy open guard. I think if I'm training gi, that is obviously, I think that I like spider and X guard and things like that. I like to be fluid, and from the beginning, I like to do. I work probably every position all the time. Like if I feel like I suck in a certain area, I'm going to work there the whole class. And I did that a lot when I was coming up. I remember as a blue belt, I was getting crushed out. So for over a year, all I did was work my guard. I didn't care how big somebody was. I took my beatings, but I like to work everywhere because I didn't want to have like, there are people out there which have something they're really, really good at, but then you put them somewhere else and then you can't always dictate where you're going to be in a tournament. Like I wanted to be well-rounded. And I think that stuck with me from the beginning. Is I want to be able to, at least if a student asks me a question, I should at least have an answer from each area as far as I'm concerned. So that was super important to me coming up. I think it made it tougher at times. I didn't just do like, I'm good at this one sweep. Like I work a lot everywhere. So I think for me, I try to be as well-rounded as I can be. Because I do like training Nogi as well. So I like to, like I know how to do heel hooks, but I'm not going to be the one to teach you. I feel there are people better suited for that. And it's not my go-to, especially if I do a lot of IBJJF as a masters. I don't get to do them very often in tournaments. Just one tournament I had recently, I was able to go for heel hooks, but I try to be well-rounded. I would say that's the best way to describe me, is pretty well-rounded.
Gotcha. And Poku says, as a tall person, what submissions do you like the best and least? Well, heel hook, I guess would heel hook would be the least that you wouldn't mind doing it.
Oh, I don't mind doing it. No.
Okay.
Cool.
Gotcha.
For me, I mean, I'm a taller person, so I like, I love triangles, arm bars. I like doing omoplata sweeps a lot. Omoplata sweeps are my favorite because I really love to catch the toe hold off them. That's like one of my favorites, is I like toe holds, but I like to also tangle you up and then go for the toe hold. So there's really not much room to get out of. But omoplata sweep into toe hold, I learned that as a blue belt, and it's something that I find everywhere. So that's one of my favorites.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. Yeah. So we got Alex from Singapore. It's like midnight over there. He goes, "Oh, I want to hear, but I got to sleep." But what he heard was heel hook. So you got him on heel hook. Is why he tuned in. I do have a question. So you did like Muay Thai back then, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Has that seemed to help with your jiu-jitsu game? Not only, I mean, there's other aspects, but I'm thinking like in more of a stand-up footwork game.
Yes. So yeah, 100%. So I always loved clinch work and Muay Thai, which you go to Nogi and you're tying up, like you're in a plum tie right there. Like I found that to be very helpful. And also the leg sweep, the trips you can do in Muay Thai are basically takedowns in Nogi. So yeah, I always found that to be helpful for me. You start clinch work and first people are like, what the hell are you doing? I'm like, oh, this is just like Nogi, Muay Thai, you get right in there. So yeah, I do like that. So
it changes some now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say, like, for any females or even males that are like leery about, Muay Thai, mm-hmm. I kind of stopped the Muay Thai, but thinking back, it's like, you know what? It actually helps with your grappling game if, you're able to transition. So if any you people that are looking into also the Muay Thai to complement your game, that'd be one aspect to complement it also. Yeah. So any other aspects that helps complement it?
Well, just the toughness of Muay Thai, because you start with the striking, and it's completely different cardio wise. I found, because I had great cardio on Muay Thai, and I went to jiu-jitsu. I'm like, oh my god, I'm wrestling in a blanket. This is awful. I felt that way at first about the gi, but it's just like a mental toughness. Any martial art, once you're used to showing up and dealing with struggles and fighting through things, it's the same mental toughness. I think for me, anyhow. There's other struggles, but it's pretty much you're going to show up and, might be a rough day, might be a not so bad day. Might just be, and no matter what day it is, I'm always happy I go. So, always show up.
Excellent. So, coming up in your ranks, who has been your female inspiration in life or jiu-jitsu?
So when I was coming up, I had the privilege. It's funny now, when I was at Ricardo's, Emily Kwok came in, and so she was a purple belt and I was a blue belt. So she was one of the other females that I met, that we were the only two in like the advanced class and stuff at Ricardo's. So it was really helpful to have another female. And then she was teaching a women's program for a little bit, so I was helping her teach. So it was nice to have another female. She was a big help in the beginning, and we're still friends now. It's been years, but she was one of the main ones. And I remember I was at World Championships as a blue belt. I got my ass kicked really bad because I had never gone to a world championship, and I got super nervous and all that. But I was there watching Luana Algazir. I'll probably say her name wrong. I don't know if you know her, from Luana Algazir. She's from out of Alliance. And I remember watching her compete and her level of intensity. And I was like, I'm going to compete at Worlds as a black belt. It's going to happen. And I remember watching her. I was like, she's super intense. I loved it. I loved everything about watching her compete. She stuck out to me early on. I was just a blue belt, and I'm at World Championships. And this is the year that Hodja Gracie, like, mounted everybody and choked them out. It was a really cool year to be there. But watching her level of intensity was just amazing. Something about her, it really stuck with me. And then I had the honor of training with her a few years back, but super cool. I really like her style of intensity. You have people like, Annette Stack, who's wonderful. She's the only one I've ever taken a private lesson with, was Annette Stack, which was very cool as well. I was a brown belt then. So I was like, yeah, I'm taking it. And she wanted, what do you want to work on? I'm like, no, you show me what you're good at. Like, don't worry about me. Like, I want to see what you do. So those couple of ladies coming up were really super impressive to watch. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can try to get them on.
Yeah.
Also, I might have to hit you up because I don't know them. I'm not connected with them. So it'd be cool just to pick their brain for sure.
They're all super friendly. So you just message them. They'd probably answer you.
So we have actually Poku says he's doing Zoom classes with Emily's class now. So
great.
So she's amazing. So awesome.
Yeah, very
perfect.
Good. Super talented.
Yes, and we have a question. There are several women coming out about male coaches crossing the line between teacher and student. As a professor, what advice would you give women that's hesitant about working with male coaches?
Well, so what I would say, and something I did from day one, I was no nonsense when I was there. They knew I was there to train. You have a few people try to be cute and whatnot. I've never had any issues with male coaches. I've also seen, I figure if I go there and I'm all business and I don't even give them room to think that I'm looking to hook up, I kind of set my tone from the beginning. I'm there to train. I'm serious. I'm all business. And by the way, I love to joke around and bullshit. Like, I will joke around, laugh with the best of them. And I don't even care about, like, funny comments. Like, I think a lot, I think, but I don't, I feel if you leave yourself open to, there's a way you carry yourself, and that you can kind of tell coming in, like, which girls are there. Like, you can tell who's serious for jiu-jitsu, who's there looking, flirting, looking for a new boyfriend. You can kind of tell from the start. I'm very good about setting boundaries. So if I feel that somebody crosses something and I'm not okay with it, I feel that you address it on the spot. Whether it be your coach, whether it be another teammate, you address it on the spot. And if it continues, then I would go to the higher coach. And if it is the higher coach, you need to be stern. Like, listen, I'm here to train jiu-jitsu. That is it. And I think if you set boundaries from the start, you're going to be a little more respected. That's just my personal take on it.
I love it. It's like black and white already. Setting those boundaries.
No bullshit. Yeah, no bullshit. I'm not here to date you. You need to, move on with that. So
that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's a great question and great response. I love it.
Oh,
and it's clear and concise because we need that nowadays. And there's a lot of ambiguity in training facilities. So
yes.
So talk about your competition years. I see that I'm stalking on your IG. So you won 2014 Master World Champion, and then you back last year. You had a great year. Looks like you had Pan, V, and Nogi. So talk about those competitions that you won.
So I had a really hard brown belt years. I refused to compete in Masters, and I was 38 years old, still competing in adult worlds. I had some matches. Yeah. I was like, no,
that's amazing.
Then I have to say I'm old, So I did. So I refused to do it. And I remember my whole brown belt years, I didn't win a match. I lost decisions. I had a couple real bad, got my ass kicked. But I refused to. So my whole years at brown belt, I didn't win anything, and I just kept competing. And I got done, and I was like, I'm not doing worlds again as a brown belt. And then I got my black belt. I was like, oh shit, I guess I'm doing it again. Yeah. So I remember Tom telling me, he's like, I'm glad you still want to compete as a black belt. I'm like, well, wasn't that the goal? I've been competing since I was a white belt. Like, I think why am I going to quit now? It's been years of this, So I went to my first worlds at black belt, and I was okay. And I got caught in a weird spot, and I made a weird noise. I don't even know what the hell I was doing. I made a weird noise. So then they called it like a verbal tap. And I was like, that's just bullshit. And I was like, okay. So that was my first, I went black belt worlds, and I get home and Tom's like, would you please do masters already? And I'm like, but I don't want to say I'm old. I was, I was at the time, I was like, I don't want to. So then I go out there and I just went for it. And, I won. And he was like, I told you, like, I don't know, so that was my first year at black belt. I won masters worlds. And I think it was a masters 1. I don't think they had anything more than that at the time.
No,
Masters
yeah.
1. Yeah. Master 1 or master 2. I don't even know. They didn't have many people. So I was fighting up a weight class just to get somebody. So that was that time. And I was like, wow. And then I came back, and then I had a lot of tough matches, back and forth matches, off and on. I had one girl I fought at Nogi Worlds after that was definitely all greased up. That was a fun one. And then she's like, oh, are you doing absolute? I'm like, no, you're slippery. I'm like, yeah. So, and then this past year, I really adjusted my thinking, because you go out there and you're like, oh, people look up to me, they count on me, and I had to be like, you know what, this is for me. I'm doing this because I want to, for no other reason than that. Like, if I never compete again, it doesn't change somebody's opinion of me, So once I cleared my head, and I'm just like, you know what, I'm here for me, and I'm going to get after it. And I thought about, I train hard to get ready, and now I think when I get out there, like, I get to show my jujitsu. Like, I get to show my jujitsu, and I get to go after it and not really think about the person's welfare in the middle of the match. At the end of it, I'm like, oh shit, are you okay? But in the middle of the match, I don't care. Come on. We're competitors. Like, it is what it is. I mean, so I changed my way of thinking. And before I went out there, I had done Fight to Win, which scared the life out of me because I was afraid I was going to fall off the stage. So that was a big one. But once I did that, and I had a good experience, a great experience there, actually. And I adjusted my thinking. I went out there and I just was right on it. And it really helped me with my competition. So now anything is gravy. I do it now purely because I love it and not for any other reason. And that helped me. And that's why I think I've had a more successful year. It's just my thought process, I would second guess myself. I would do shit in tournaments that I would never do in training, where I'm like, what the hell was I thinking? This is not even how I normally roll. So if I get after it like I do in training, I find I have a much better result. So that's been my biggest obstacle, is really my brain.
Yeah, that's cool. That I appreciate you sharing how your mindset has changed.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
How you were able to become aware of it. Yeah. Because most people aren't aware of it. It's like, what can I change to my approach this time around when you compete again? So, speaking of that, what do you normally say to females that's up and coming, that wants to compete, or who has compete, that struggles with competing?
I guess you got to find your own why. Like, why are you doing it? Like, if you're doing it for personal growth, things like that are great, but I think you got to find your own reasoning and what your end goals are when you're in there, I guess. For me, it's not like I'm thinking, oh, I need the gold, I must win this, I have to win this, or I have to win this. It's now like, let me bring my best game. And that's for me. But I think that's something, I mean, as much as I know people that compete, I really had to figure it out for myself. Like, what were my goals going out there, and why am I doing it? Because other people do it? You're not going to do well if that's why you're doing it. It's got to be for yourself. It's got to be about, you got to have your own inner drive, because when you're in there and someone's putting pressure on you, it's easy to be like, basically, F this. Like, I want out of this. This sucks. Like, you need to find your why. Where I get in there like that, and I'm like, not today. Like, I'm like, no, not happening. And I have this different mindset when I'm going in there. And I guess it's got to be, you got to figure it out for yourself. Really, everybody, you can counsel people, you listen to advice, but I really had to figure it out for myself. And I think that's a personal thing you need to figure out.
Cool, awesome. Great. Do you prefer gi or no gi? Who's asking that question?
Gi. I prefer gi. parts of me like, you know what I like to do no gi? When my hands are killing me from gi grips. I like to, you know, if I'm training a lot of gi, I need a day of no gi just to give my poor little, I have like a crippled squirrel fingers now. They're like little, oh, they're awful. Yeah. And so after a few hard days of gi fighting, I'm like, no, I need a little break. And sometimes just working different things. I work different things in no gi, but I've always competed no gi too. So yeah, I figure a lot of the tournaments, it's pretty much the same rule set, you know, for me anyhow. But yeah, if I'm given a choice, I want my gi.
Gotcha. Jody's on. Yo, Jersey Ride and Die for sure.
Hey.
Good morning, Jody. We have Kane. She's out in Melbourne, Australia, and it's like midnight over there.
Nice.
Past midnight. What are the sighting change that you notice from all over the world?
The exciting change.
Future of BJJ.
I like the things like fight to win. I mean, how many people get treated like a rock star, and you know, you're a masters athlete who, you know, I travel here and there for tournaments. Like I've had that was the great experience. Like I said before, it scared the shit out of me. I thought I was going to fall off the stage. I had like nightmares of this. And the first time I saw it, I was like, oh God, I don't know if I could do this. You know, I've been at world championships, but this was different because you're the only one. And then the lights are on you and they're only watching your match. You know, you know how you're at a Masters Worlds, like there's 100 matches going on, you know, whatever about you. But this one, you're like, shit, they're all watching. Like,
yeah. It's awesome. It's awesome because it's like quiet, and then when you make a move or something like that, it was go, oh, you know, everyone's like making noises.
It was nuts, and I can remember every second of that because it was just so cool. I really enjoyed that. But
and you get your own music.
You're able to make money. You know, you sell tickets to your teammates, your family, and you're able to win money at these tournaments now. And there's much more higher purses involved. Which I think is fantastic. I love that the thing they're putting on 100%. You know, it was like the best experience all around from matchmaking, even though I had an opponent drop out and then I had another person step in, to everything about it. To, you know, it's a fun experience. And the weirdest thing, of course, I found was weighing in and like, you know, not much in front of a whole crowd. I'm like, this is a little strange, but okay, I'm in. It was fun though. Fun time. I think that kind of thing moving forward is great. I mean, I love that they're back on in Texas doing shows. So that's really a good vibe coming back out of this. You know, those things are fantastic.
That's awesome. Yeah. And then on top of that, we got EBI too. And they're athletes, and then they're starting to get, oh, sorry. Lost you for a second.
That's it. There we are.
and then they're starting to have that mixture of jiu-jitsu and combat jiu-jitsu. So yeah,
I would be all about that life. I mean, you know, it sounds fun.
Yeah, we need to get you on. I want to see you do that. I can so see you do that.
First time I saw that, I'm like, can I find another old lady who wants to like smack the shit out of each other? Probably. I know we're out there.
I'll do it with you.
It can't be anybody I know because then I'll start laughing halfway through.
Oh, come on.
That'd be too weird.
You're like, oh my goodness. That's funny. Great question. Doesn't speak good for older women. That doesn't speak good for I'm not sure about that comment, what she meant about that one. So as far as you so you have a husband?
Yes.
Correct. And where is he at with his jiu-jitsu journey? And
he's
how long you guys been married?
We've been married almost 9 years now.
Okay. And he's a black belt?
Okay. Yep. So we met at Ricardo's years ago, and we were just friends. And then I had gone to Tom's and he had gone somewhere else, and then we started dating, and we've been together ever since. But he came to Tom's as a brown belt. So, and then Tom promoted to black belt. So it's been helpful having someone to train with during this whole time at home. So I definitely have been lucky like that. He doesn't like to train as often as I do sometimes, but if I get to roll a couple days a week, I've been happy through this. So it's been helpful.
That's cool. Yeah. So I guess the relationship and dynamic is, I mean, there's not like headbutting too much, or is there headbutting a lot of headbutting?
Well, So when we first started training together, when we first started training together, it would get personal, and I'd be like, "Oh, you want to muscle me around?" Or he'll be like, "Oh, you kicked me." I'm like, "I swept you," So it would go back. It would go like that because he's got probably 60 pounds on me a lot of times. So he's putting all his, I would get frustrated. I'm like, "Oh, you're just gonna try to like lay on me." So then, yeah, I would sweep him by kicking him in the chest, 100%. I fully admit it. I tack his feet, things like that, things that a smaller person can get away with. I try to get on his back and things like that. I'm definitely the competitive one. I joke around and say I'm the meaner one. Yeah, I am. I mean, he's bigger, so it's okay. But he's a retired cop now. But he'll get after me. And he admits it. He's like, "I'm going to kill you sometimes." I'm like, perfect. But as we've matured in our jiu-jitsu journey together, we actually train very well together now. But not at first. No. Mm-mm. No,
Gotcha.
I wouldn't train with him much in the beginning. Mm-mm.
Cool. Yeah, I hear you as far as, yeah.
Yeah.
I think that starts out with a lot of people's relationship
Yeah.
with their spouse
Yeah,
or
it's like
other significant other, for sure.
Yeah.
On that, Jody said she meant like Fight to Win doesn't invite masters old women, so I'm not sure because I know they invite masters women. So
I had a great experience with it. I know there's a few masters out there. I think sometimes just matching people up can be difficult. I know trying to find somebody in their mid 40s, black belt female, close to my weight, there's not many of us around.
Exactly.
So it can be tough. Yeah.
Matchmaking is definitely tough.
Yeah.
On there, especially if we hardly find tournaments and people within our brackets within the tournament and stuff like that. So
I mean, even worlds and pans, like if you get a few people, you're like, shit, that's a big division for me. That's great. And then not everybody will do absolute, which, I do depending on my injuries and how I feel after my match, I guess. I don't always make that decision ahead of time.
Gotcha. Poku's asking, do you think law enforcement officers should learn jiu-jitsu?
Oh, hell yeah. I mean, seriously? Yeah. I mean, any upper hand you could have. I mean, you're not always going to have a weapon on you. So as far as I'm concerned, I mean, I think everybody should learn how to protect themselves, but especially law enforcement. I know my husband, now even though retired, he's trained jiu-jitsu and martial arts through the whole time he was, on duty. So I think it's super important. Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
So how are things over at New Jersey? What are some of the things you're learning or some silver linings you're getting out of this COVID situation?
Well, it's been, as much as I love to train all the time, I'm a little further from the school than I would like. So it's been nice with less driving, honestly. Like I said, I've still been working the whole time, but it's been less travel time. So I've had more time at home and I've done more projects. I mean, literally, I've completely reorganized a closet, cleaned that all out. I've done, projects around the house that I, normally wouldn't get to because I'd be too busy training. But it's just a little different. And actually we're doing more, we're going to be opening up group classes more next week. So I will be training more. But it's been a nice change, and then I'm not filling up my tank all the time in the car, so it's kind of a little, usually it's
little money saver, time saver, a little bit.
A little bit. So it's been different. But it's weird not seeing everybody all the time. That's weird. But it's been a little strange. And then my husband, I'm like, we're training tomorrow, right? I'm like, okay. And I've been running more, which I don't enjoy, but I do. So I've been doing other workouts between running. I hop on now and then with Sophia McDermott, who's been doing wonderful classes.
Yes.
Anybody who's in her group knows that. And she's doing them free and just keeping people ready for the mats when this all gets back. So I've jumped on hers a few times. Also gone to one of her, her lifestyle camps and stuff. And I enjoy her a lot. So I jump on now and then when I can. And then they're posted, so you can go back and do them later if you want. So different workouts, things like that. Kind of not let myself, just sit on the couch and eat bad things.
I hear you. Yep. Appreciate. Yep. She's a badass mom and female practitioner for sure. We love you, Coach Sophia. Thank you for doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Question. Hold on. Poku's asking, give us your school's email mailing address so we can keep in touch with your school. Okay, she might have to message that. You can message that with me, and then I can send it to him and stuff like that. We got Wissam. Is that how I say it? From Australia.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes,
awesome.
A lot of Australians jumping in. Nice.
Yes, and then we have.
There. I would love to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Zoom women classes has been great. Is he
Corey.
one of your? Okay.
Yeah. She's
Corey.
Fantastic. She's a very
awesome.
Good too. Yeah.
Yes, another shout out to Sophia for sure.
Yeah.
On there. So, what has been like the hardest thing you've ever overcome in life?
Oh gosh, that's a good question. Probably I would say a tough childhood. I was very much put down a lot, and having to as far as other things when I was a kid, I guess having to find my own self-confidence. I would say that's the hardest thing, and believing in myself. And a lot of that, I've always been stubborn and all that, but I think finding martial arts from when I started. I mean, I grew up riding horses. I used to barrel race and compete in rodeos. So I grew up doing those things, but I never really had the self-confidence. And that happened when I got into my early 20s and I started doing Muay Thai. And really, I think that gave me the self-confidence to, create boundaries if I need to, or just, apply for, maybe it's a job, I've gone there with a great mindset, like, you're going to want to hire me, but do I want to work for you? That's kind of my mindset if I'm doing things like that. And I think, that's given me that coming over, having low self-esteem and building a self-confidence into doing basically whatever I want to, if I put my mind to something, I know I can do it. And I think that's been the biggest thing is finding my own self-confidence to do whatever I want or need to do in life. And 100% that was definitely the hardest thing, was coming over, finding my own self-confidence.
Yeah. It's kind of, actually that was like one of my other questions, but as I was talking to you, it seems like you had the confidence and you're stubborn, you're talking about that, but then when I was like, maybe I could ask this question, but that's pretty cool. Cause I wouldn't have known, speaking to you now, that you struggled with self-esteem and self-confidence back then, and then having martial arts. And that's, I think that's a lot of ladies' stories, or any other guy stories too, as far as being involved with martial arts. It definitely is going to help build confidence, especially with, if you have a great supporting system, a great environment to train in on that. So appreciate that. So what would you say is like a positive message, mantra, or quote that you like to leave for others today?
I would think something that I heard, like, years ago, was basically, for me, like, it's one of those, for me, it's like, you're only as good as you want to be. And that way it puts basically the control on you, and you're not leaving it up to anybody else. Because I think if you do the work, you believe in yourself, you put forth the effort, you're going to get the results that you're looking for in pretty much anything. I think, things aren't just going to magically fall into your lap. Like for example, I was at my job for many, many years, my one job. And I was like, you know what, this just isn't working for me anymore. So I need to get up and move out. And I had been there like 20 years. And I was like, it's not what I want to do anymore. This isn't working for me. And I'm not afraid to go somewhere else and start brand new. And I think that's the confidence of, it's up to me to do what I need to do, and I think, I think, like, people, another one too is, if you want things to change, you have to make changes. It's not just going to change. It's easy to get up and do the same thing day in, day out, but if you're not happy with it, you gotta shake things up a bit. Don't be afraid to get out there and do what you want, right? Whether it's follow a dream, work a different career. Like, you have one life, like, you're supposed to kind of enjoy it, right?
Right. Yeah. That's awesome. Great message. Well, we're gonna close out on that, and I appreciate you jump on it because I didn't really know you, and we're connected on
Yeah.
Facebook, and so
Yeah.
just coming on is cool, I think.
Of course.
So we're gonna kind of dance out.
Got
When
it.
I know you have your phone, and so you just kind of jam out a little bit, do a little selfie dance. So if anyone else who's also watching, you can kind of wiggle your body to dance out. So I don't know if you can hear this music.
I know.
Oh, the back girl. Who has this? Who's this? Who has this on their music list of competition?
I like Gwen Stefani. It's a good one.
Yeah, it's awesome. Yep. All right. Well, thank you so much. I will. Also, where can people find you? And I know question was school's email mailing address, so someone can stay in touch with your school. So I'll get that and try to post it in here if that's okay.
Oh
Mailing
yeah,
address.
yeah. No, we're at Ocean County, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Forked River, New Jersey. So.
Okay, yeah, just Google that. But where else can people find you?
I'm pretty. You can find me under Jen Russ Jitsu on Instagram, and I'm right on Facebook as Jen Russell.
Okay.
So I'm pretty open.
Okay, excellent. All right, so I will post that inside the post, and you all have a great morning and great day wherever you're at, or evening if you're in Australia. Have a good night. So, all right, thank you all. Have a good one. Bye.